Okay, so we are putting up decals on this boat, on this pontoon. So the first things first, you're gonna need tape because it's not magnetic. So use the Gorilla tape or duct tape because it's a little stickier, so it doesn't fall off when you go to tape it up. Keep in mind when you're doing any kind of decals that we're remaking, most likely it's not gonna fit exactly the same as the first time. So don't worry about where the lines line up. The tape, I just tape in certain sections just so that when we're rolling it out, we can start taping it along. So the first piece, we're just gonna start rolling it out. I think you're gonna have to go that way a little bit, Danica. Yeah, there-ish. Okay, so go forward more. And always do this with two people, it's a lot easier. If you can just grab a second person, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, somewhere right there. So I'm just gonna tape this up for a second. And tape this too. And I already have the other side done, so what I'm gonna do is go measure where the other side is and make this exactly the same as the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a tape measure. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to grab a tape measure and measure this side while I'm over here. So the bottom, from the bottom up is 2 5/8. The big area, 2 5/8. And then from the back of the boat, it is 8.5 to the Sun Tractor text. So I come over here, should be 8.5. So we're gonna have to come backwards a little bit more. Okay, and do our tape. However, you can't see both sides at once, so if you're a little bit off, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you should try to get it as close as possible. Probably somewhere around there. Do that tape measure. I'm losing it. What did I do with that tape measure? Oh, it's right here. Okay. That's better. And then from the bottom up, I was way lower. It was 2 5/8. Right there. And I'll come check for Danica's. Oh, we gotta go up a little bit. Right there. I'm just gonna double check the back, make sure it didn't move. Yeah, we're good there. So at this point, I'm just gonna cut this excess off at the back so it doesn't, oh, I had a knife. So it doesn't flap off and come right off of the boat. Found my knife. Okay, so just cut this excess off because we're not gonna need that. And then come over to where Danica is and make sure that this is all straight too. So this is different though, because it's at a lower spot. If you look at the decal, the back is higher than the middle area, which is kind of really tough to line up. So we're at 2 with the bottom of that one. So we gotta go up a little bit, Missy. Right there. Good. And then we're good there. And that's not going to be the same. So one of the things you got to keep in mind too is when you're looking at the boat, from the bottom of this to here is different than the bottom of this one to here, because we have this big gap underneath here because of the door. So if anything, you should be measuring off of this after. So from here to here, it's 3 1/4. See, we're too high here now. I think 3 1/4. And go up a little bit. One more. Right there. 3 1/8. So ready to go here. 3 1/4. Okay, you just go up. Just oh no, it's good. It's good. Must just be where it is. I'll grab some more tape. So once you have it in place, just tape where your seams are going to be. So you're going to tape here and here. And then obviously you're going to tape on both sides of that, because we're going to cut it in the middle and that's going to create 2 flaps. So we just want to make sure that that stays right there. And this, we're going to have to move that a little bit because it's pinching a little bit. Like that. And I'm just going to double check once I have it all taped. I'm just going to double check all the measurements, make sure it's good. And this one we're just going to cut off, so it doesn't matter that much, but we should tape it in the middle here so this stays straight. Take this one. Okay, so now we'll double check our measurements, make sure everything stayed straight. It looks good. All right, so the next step before you do anything, you're going to cut all your seams. So you're going to cut it here, because now we are creating like 2 separate decals. And then this one too, we'll just take this off. This is excess. We might have to use somewhere else. Make sure when you're cutting in here that there's nothing like on the other side. So I had already pre-looked to make sure I wasn't cutting anything, but sometimes the cushions or something is sticking out, so don't stick your knife way in there, way in this crack, just in case that you get something out of there. So next, you are going to just use the hinge technique to put the decal on. So I'm going to tape it roughly right here and cut that one, so that's where I'm going to line it up to. Once I peel it back. Make sure you don't cut the panel you're working on, so you're always cutting on the pre-mast side. And then peel your one side. You want to grab a squeegee, Danica? So make sure when you're pulling your pre-mask off that you're always grabbing, that everything's coming off. As you can see, this was not coming off with the pre-mask, so make sure that it is before you continue too far. Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Glad you.
Good. Give me 1 second here. All right. So Danica, I'll give you this. And all you're going to do is squeegee from the middle. I'll line this up. Yeah. Just back and forth. And then line this one up also. So while she's squeegeeing that, now that the middle is tacked, you can come from the other side and pull the rest off. But you always want to keep your tape on the top so that you're lining it up to something, otherwise you can go completely crooked because it's long. Yeah, you can take that off now. So we're just going to peel the rest of this off. And then you're going to line up the tape on this side. just have to hold on. And you just squeegee the middle down, and it can't move. And then you can hold this out, and you can squeegee this way, down and then up. Yep. So make sure, Danica, when you're doing that you're coming, if you're gonna go side to side, you gotta come all the way to the end and then all the way back. Just otherwise you'll leave a triangle here and then you'll have a hard time getting that down. And yeah, you can hold it out. And then, while she is doing that, you can cut these off here, the excess. I like to cut it before I take the pre-mask off, because then I don't have to pull each individual piece off. And then you can pull the pre-mask slowly off. And remember, after you pull your pre-mask off, that you re-squeegee the entire thing in case your pre-mask pulled some of it off. And I'll wait till she's done there. And then you just do the same thing for the other side.